Welcome back to my fifth day. I think it's fifth day of my streaming challenge. But today I want to talk about social media and why it's never been easier to brand yourself and your company on social media. And I say that because there's so many opportunities to brand completely free if you know what you're doing and if you're consistent in doing it. But too many people are afraid of doing it. They're afraid to put themselves out there. They're afraid to put themselves on video or photo or whatever it is. So they never do anything or they can't keep up with it. I mean, having a routine in social media is key. But think about let's go through some of the platforms. So Instagram, Reels are important. Stories are very important. And then posts still help the algorithm, but Reels and Stories are really the two big things that are important, right? So a Reel is typically a vertical video. It picks up more, that type of video picks up more traction on Instagram than like a horizontal video that's a longer post. So it's easy to cut those up. So like a live stream like this, I can take into another tool that I use to cut my videos up and create under a minute, or in Instagram's case, 90 seconds videos that I can then use on platforms like Instagram Reels, right? So I'm creating content while I'm doing this live stream. So if I do a 10-minute live stream, I create content that I can then cut up and use on different platforms as well. So that's number one, Instagram. Think about if you could just do one post, one story, and one reel a couple of times a week. Let's look at those three things a couple of times a week. It's consistency. Consistency is what you need. And Instagram is huge for hashtags. So Instagram, you can do up to 30 hashtags. That's not the case in Facebook or LinkedIn or any of those other platforms. So at Instagram, you can do up to 30 hashtags and find a hashtag that's trending. And obviously that relates to what you're talking about, but find a hashtag that's trending and relates to what you're talking about. So think about Instagram. What can you do there to brand yourself and your company? Number two, Facebook. Facebook's been around really long time. And it's kind of a similar thing where the stories and the reels are getting more traction than maybe some of the posts. Now, my posts on my personal platform do pretty good. On my business one, they do okay. So it just depends a little bit. So I still use my personal one for business purposes as well. So you have to figure out what works for you and what's good for you in that branding of yourself. So Facebook, LinkedIn, don't forget LinkedIn. Don't leave out LinkedIn, depending on who your clientele is, and who, if I'm going after businesses, then LinkedIn's a good platform for me to use, right? Versus if you're going after consumers, it still can be a decent platform because obviously everyone on there could be a consumer as well as in business. So it just depends a little bit on who you're going after, who your ideal client is. And TikTok, don't be afraid to use TikTok. Think about it. TikTok is one of the easiest platforms to use and get traction because the algorithms aren't as locked down as some of these other platforms. So it's easier to get more followers. Now, yes, is there spam stuff on there? Absolutely. Is there spam stuff on every single platform? Absolutely. There are people that are hacking accounts. There are people that are, replicating, duplicating accounts. Absolutely. There's spam everywhere we look. But TikTok, short videos, vertical, typically, you can put a horizontal one on there, but think vertical videos, you can go up to 10 minutes on TikTok. So while I don't necessarily recommend that, you can go up to 10 minutes on TikTok. Now to live stream on TikTok, you have to have at least 1,000 followers. So I think I have 700 followers, maybe give or take a few. So I'm not quite there yet. So I'm not live streaming over there on TikTok, but you can live stream on TikTok if you have a certain number of followers. So I got on TikTok a little bit later, but the main thing is be consistent. And you don't have to use all these platforms. So there's other ones besides what I've talked about. There's X, which is the former Twitter. So I am on those as well. I don't go on those as much, but they exist. So look at your target market, Look at who you're trying to brand in front of. Like, who do you want to make the impression on? And then create social media for that market. But brand yourself. If you're the business owner, brand yourself. Don't be afraid to brand yourself. Don't be afraid to get in front of a video camera. I mean, I can't stand my current background. I'm at my home office, and I feel like this rose color background that I have on my wall like makes me look like rosy color and pink. So I'm working on getting a green screen in here and maybe some additional lights and doing a little bit different platform on this. It's just not there yet. But don't be afraid to do it. And if you get overwhelmed easily, don't do all the platforms. I mean, while I may post short clips to 5 different platforms on YouTube, I almost forgot YouTube, but I'll go back to YouTube in a minute. Don't be afraid to just focus in on 1 or 2 platforms. So if Instagram's where your followers are, focus in on Instagram and put all your efforts into Instagram. But just don't forget you can repurpose content. And that's one of the best things. I talked about that at the very beginning. I can do a live stream like this for, say, 10 minutes, 8 to 10 minutes. And then I can take this into a software called Vidyo.ai. It's Vidyo.ai. And I can have it cut up smaller clips, so like 1-minute clips. And then I can use those on various platforms, right? So even though I'm live streaming it to 8 different platforms right this second, I can use those small clips to various platforms to make my points. So I'm repurposing that same content that I'm creating today for future use. And does that make sense to everyone out there? Because that's one of the easiest things. Instead of saying, okay, I got to create 10 videos and 10 videos and I need them to be 1-minute clips and I'm just going to go in and do 10 videos. No, like just repurpose some content. On my podcast, when I film the podcast, and it's usually like 45 to 60 minutes, I pull that in and then I cut that up into clips as well. So those are all opportunities to repurpose content. And no, you can't use, all 10 minutes. Absolutely not. But I can still pull from like a 10-minute video like this. I can probably pull 2 to 3 good clips out of that and then use those on the platforms as well in the form of like Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, TikToks, things like that. So going back to YouTube, I almost forgot to mention YouTube, and that's like probably the biggest one out. Well, it's not the biggest one out there, but it's a big platform and a big player because Google owns it. Don't forget YouTube. And YouTube, you can do a lot of different things. So you can do lives like I'm doing right now. You can do just long podcasts. So I post my podcast to YouTube because I want the video format. You can do long podcasts. You can do shorts. So shorts are vertical videos that are 1 minute or less. So kind of like the Instagram Reel. So YouTube created their version, which is called a YouTube Short. So those just help get you traction and help get you additional followers because they come into the feed a little more frequently. Sometimes you can go on, if you look at the YouTube app, you can go on the shorts and you can just see different things from different creators out there. So YouTube's a viable platform as well. And all these platforms allow you to be paid if you get big enough. And obviously don't focus on that because ideally you want to focus on branding yourself, branding your business, and creating more business, right? That's the main thing I'm talking about today. But it has never been easier to brand yourself on social media than it is today. Never easier. And if you're not doing it, you're really a fool not to be doing it. Just take a couple hours a week, set the time aside, time block on your schedule, whatever it is, go live twice a week. If you go live twice a week, then use that content to break it into smaller shorts. And you've got your content right there, right? Go live twice a week. And if you're puzzled on what to talk about, that's usually what I hear. It's like, I don't know what to say. Like, who's going to listen to me? I don't know what to say. Go on ChatGPT and ask the question that your ideal client is asking. So for me, I might go in and ask, for my business coaching clients, hey, for someone that's brand new in business, what is their biggest challenge in 2023? And just come out, see what the answers are. And I could do different videos on each of those, right? Or if it was my marketing clients, what are the biggest challenges on social media? Now I already kind of know those, so I didn't go in there and do that today, but maybe I will tomorrow and see if ChatGPT comes up with anything that I haven't thought about. But those are all things that you can brainstorm and come up with and just talk about. And keep practicing. If you're scared of being on video, keep practicing and just be consistent with it. If you're consistent with it, it will get easier. You won't even know you're on video. You'll know it, but you won't get freaked out by it. Excuse my dogs in the background. But just stay consistent. Continue to brand yourself. Start 2024 focused, intentional, and really branding yourself and your business. My name is Allison Turner. If you have any questions for me, feel free to go to my website, theallisonturner.com. That's theallisonturner.com, and shoot me a question. I am happy to answer any questions. I have a complimentary consultation on there. Happy to answer any questions you may have and would love to talk to you. Hope you have a great rest of your night, and I look forward to speaking with you and talking with you some more tomorrow. Bye for now.